Hey there, it's Wayfair here, where delivery and setup are as easy as a few taps on your phone. You're relaxing in an old hammock, scrolling Wayfair's app, when you spot it, a brand new patio set. Next thing you know, Wayfair delivers it right to your patio and sets it up. Oh, you need a new grill too? All right, Wayfair's got you covered. With Wayfair's Room of Choice delivery and fast expert setup on qualifying orders, life gets a little easier. Visit wayfair.com or the Wayfair app.
Wayfair, every style, every home.
We make over 35,000 decisions every single day, but only one has the power to set the tone for everything else. And that's what we're unwrapping in this week's episode. Welcome to The Real Dish Show, the place where we peel back the onion on your fabulously fit life. I'm Chef Maria, the Fit Foodie. And with over 30 years of experience in the health and wellness world, I'm here to guide you on this journey to uncover the keys to living a vibrant, balanced life. Whether you're seeking practical tips for nutrition, fitness, mental well-being, or simply craving insightful conversations with experts in the field, you've come to the right place. Now get ready to embark on a holistic adventure toward a healthier, happier you and make shift happen for good. Okay, guys, here's the reality check. Most Americans suffer from the following: poor diet, sedentary lifestyle, and unmanaged stress. And this is the triple threat to our health and longevity. What I want to share with you is that there is a direct correlation to the choices that we make and our health. And I know it seems like, well, duh, of course, you choose. I mean, essentially, we know what it takes to live well, right? We know that eating well will help our well-being. We know that movement will help our well-being. We know that managing stress will help our well-being. So why the fork don't we do it? And that, my friends, is the clincher. The decision that you make that reigns above all else, all those 35,000 decisions for your well-being is this: you have to prioritize your mental well-being. Period and full stop. So what does that actually mean? That's what we're going to unwrap today, really unpack in this week's episode, because the more and more I have experience in this industry, and I've been in this industry for a long time. I've been in the world of health, wellness, fitness for over 30 years. I mean, really longer, but I don't want to reveal just like how long, because you'd think I was ancient or something. But the fact is, we know that the data is pointing to this direction over and over and over again. Let me give you a few examples of what we're seeing in the research. Number one, poor nutrition is linked to increased depression risk by up to 80% in some studies. And diets high in sugar and processed foods actually shrink the hippocampus, which is the brain's memory hub. So as we age, and, obviously it is more and more acute that we go through these issues of memory, and obviously disease that also comes into place, whether it be Alzheimer's or some version of memory loss. This becomes so important. On the subject of physical health and stress, chronic stress increases your risk of heart disease by 40% and can shorten the telomeres, which are the cellular aging markers, by up to 10 years. For women, heart disease is the number one killer after 50. And globally, heart disease is the number one killer of men and women, period. I don't think we talk about this enough. I think we are so focused on other types of diseases, but we miss this one over and over again. And it affects the largest number of people. Now, when it comes to lifestyle and longevity, sedentary lifestyles are as deadly as smoking, causing an estimated 5 million deaths worldwide each year. And sleep deprivation increases risk of obesity by 55% in teens, and get this, 89% in adults. Wow, that one really rocked my world. I mean, sleep deprivation and obesity are so entwined together. And we just think, well, life is short. Let me just party all night and I'll sleep when I'm dead. Well, if we want to accelerate that trajectory towards death, we can deprive sleep as much as possible and we'll get there a lot faster. So, for all these reasons and more, I want us to really think about that connection that we make of prioritizing our mental well being. I didn't say necessarily prioritizing anything else. But the fact is, and I became a brain health coach last year. I got certified in brain health coaching through Amen University. And one of the things that I learned is we must engage our brains in order to make these foundational decisions. So, mental health is directly related to diet. It's directly related to stress. It's directly related to physical health and all of these decisions that we're making because the number one thing you have to do is decide. And that is where mindset becomes so important. So, all these years that I've been teaching, everything that has to do with healthy diets, healthy eating, exploring physical exercise in different ways, these are all directly related to that one critical decision, and that is your mindset. So let's dive into this, the mindset connection. Mental health is the foundation for all other habits. So we have to think about, how are we feeding our brains? Really, how are we treating our mental health? And here are some of the facts. Stress triggers the amygdala and absolutely shuts down logical decision making in the prefrontal cortex. The amygdala, the prefrontal cortex, these are all parts of your brain. And I encourage you to go to Google and download a picture of your brain so you can actually see what I'm talking about. These different areas of the brain are intrinsically tied to decision making. And the decisions that we make become our reality. When we're young, we live and we're like, we're young, we can be stupid, we can do dumb things. I mean, all kids do dumb things. And then we become adults and maybe some of those habits still linger. We party a lot, we drink a lot, we go out late, we eat a lot of garbage food, and then we continue on into our 30s and maybe even in our 40s. And if we're still doing it in our 50s, our face shows it, our body shows it. Probably the decisions we've made have made an impact on our lives that may or may not be that healthy. So finding a place in your life where decision making and integrating wisdom that you've amassed over the years, or hopefully early in life, because maybe you're listening to this or you've got a mentor that's teaching you how to make these good decisions. I mean, this changed everything for me. And trust me, when I tell you I am not a holier than thou person that has made all the great decisions, I've made a lot of stupid decisions in my life. And I've made a lot of really unhealthy ones that abused food and abused my body and neglected my mental well-being, chalking it up to prioritizing other people. All the things and excuses that anybody could come up with to say that they are putting their well-being on the back burner. And what this data is telling us is that if we even want to help take care of other people, we have to take care of ourselves first. And it may sound like a trite example, but it's a good one. When you're on the airplane, you got to put the oxygen mask on you first. That's what the flight attendant tells you, right? I know you've probably been sleeping through that little introduction, or maybe you just have it memorized, but you got to put the oxygen mask on you first in order to make good decisions so you can help others. Now, that dopamine and serotonin, those feel good hormones that our bodies produce or maybe stopped producing because we're just not feeding our bodies the way we need to, those are strongly influenced by daily choices. And the three big ones are movement, nutrition, and sunlight. So, moving every day and getting oxygen in our lungs, nutrition and eating a variety of colors and protein to build muscle, good fat to fuel our brain, and all the colors of the rainbow from nature, because every color correlates to a different part of our body. Green for our cells, red for our blood, purple and blues, those are the master antioxidants. Think of them as the Mr. and Mrs. Pac-Man eating up all of the nasty stuff in your system. I mean, all of this contributes to well-rounded nutrition, not just focusing on one macronutrient. And then sunlight, actually getting out into the sunshine. The studies that support this are infinite, and the studies that show that depression and even risk of suicide from lack of sunlight is a reality should point us to the direction of how important sunlight is. I'm not saying don't wear your sunscreen, but I am saying that getting out into the morning sunlight will benefit you leaps and bounds. So, can you make time for that? Knowing that those three things, those three daily choices of movement, nutrition, and sunlight are three of the most important things that you can do for your mental well-being and for your body, that should be important. So, I want to talk a little bit about a daily routine that can help you. And I know it's helped me. And you may have some things that you want to add to it, but certainly starting with a core list and not overwhelming yourself can be a great place to start. So here are some statistics that you might find interesting. Number one is starting your day with stillness. And people who meditate or pray or do both for 10 minutes a day reduce cortisol levels by up to 25%. And cortisol is the hormone that we produce for fight or flight. Now, cortisol is important and we don't want to inhibit cortisol production, but what we don't want to do is fire our cortisol all day long. Our bodies just will break down and it will drain our adrenal glands and we won't be able to react when we actually need to. So, could you start your day with prayer and meditation for just 10 minutes? And if you do it outside in the sun, even better. Get those two birds with one stone. And the data shows us that even 5 minutes of deep breathing can lower blood pressure and heart rate. And you may think, well, I breathe all the time. It's funny, we actually hold our breath a lot more than we deep breathe. So if you can deep breathe, and I love box breathing, where you take a deep inhale for 5 minutes, or 5 seconds rather, not 5 minutes. Don't deep breathe for don't inhale for 5 minutes. Inhale for 5 seconds, hold it for 2 seconds, and then release it for 5. So let's practice together. We're going to do it together. Hold it for 2 and exhale. Okay, you just did that. Now do that 3 times, and I promise you, it will reset your brain. It'll bring you a strange type of inner peace that is hard to explain. And making decisions from a place that you are still and calm will help you make much better decisions. No one ever made a good decision when they were popping off on someone. No one. I don't know one person, including myself. Nobody ever sent a kind email or text message when they were furious. No one ever made a good decision when they were in fight or flight mode, unless it was like, I am escaping death. And that's when you want your fight or flight mode to work. So before you make a big decision, try that box breath 3 times and tell me what happens. I'm curious. I want to hear what happens to you. Number 2 is guard your digital gate. Ooh, I just heard a gasp in the room. Yeah. Have you checked your screen time lately? Get this. The average person checks their phone 344 times a day. That's the average person. 344 times a day we're checking our phone. I don't check anything with even remote that kind of regularity, not even my kids, not even my husband, okay? And if I do check my phone 344 times a day, shame on me. But this isn't about shaming. This is about being aware. And overuse is linked to increased anxiety, poor sleep, and reduced attention span. Well, no duh. We are constantly interrupted, friends. Every day we have to manage those interruptions. But guess what? You can control how you respond. You can control how often you pick up your phone. You can decide if every time your phone buzzes, if you will answer it or if you will wait and do it maybe a few times a day. Or you silence your notifications and you designate a time that you check those. Or you decide that you're not going to even keep social media on your phone because it's just too much of a hassle. That is a decision you need to make. But the point is, with all those interruptions, how could we get anything done effectively? The idea of multitasking and completing anything with efficacy is a complete lie. The human mind was not created to multitask, even though we think we're good at it. If I'm cooking and trying to talk to my kids or my dad or my husband, and I'm also trying to listen to, a podcast and absorb that, there's no way I'm going to get everything done effectively. But if I am cooking and it is a rare day where I have no interruptions and I can listen to some classical music where it's just background and I can vibe with the food, that is a day where I will produce the best food. But it's not always going to happen. So we need to be prepared to be able to produce the best thing that we can under the circumstances. But you can guard your digital gate. You can guard how much that interrupts your day. So I want to just go back to the beginning and talk a little bit about what I believe number 3 should be. So if number 1 is starting with stillness and number 2 is guarding your digital gate, what do you think number 3 should be? We said that diet is one of the most important things linked to brain health. So I'm going to tell you number 3 is you've got to prioritize your nutrition. So if we as human beings just function on needing energy, okay, in order to make a good decision, and all we have in our system is sugar, the brain is going to want sugar first because it's going to be able to use the sugar and convert it into energy the fastest. But that doesn't make it the best choice. So the number 1 thing that you can do in order to be prepared for the week is to have food in your fridge. And that's why I think meal prepping is so important. I have been teaching meal prepping for 2 decades, and I have a meal prep plan. If you've never checked it out, you can find the link in the show notes. But the great thing about having a plan is you always know what's coming next. And in a world that is so full of indecision and, not being able to always know what's ahead, this becomes something that you can lean into that is there for you. And so having proteins ready to go, having some simple, easy to digest, but fill you up fiber is a great option. Having all the colors of the rainbow in fruits and vegetables, those 3 things alone, amazing. And then adding some good fat to it. So have your avocados, have your nuts and seeds, have good quality oils, your extra virgin olive oil, your avocado oil, your sesame oil, those types of things will help you a lot. And then having your spices. And that is why I also created Superfood Sprinkle. Now, this episode is not about promoting my products. It's just telling you that I've created some things to help you. So whether it be having those foods already pre-prepped or having ingredients that you can pull together in a snap, these are all ways that you can help your brain help itself. And it's just about setting yourself up for success every single day. Number 4 is stress. How do we manage stress? Well, I'm going to tell you something. You need to know what your triggers are. If a stress trigger is listening to the news or scrolling or a temper that gets flared from certain things, you need to know what your triggers are. And I'm going to tell you a funny story. Well, not funny, but a real story. I am highly, highly triggered by people who call me short or say things like, wow, you're so small, or oh, you're a lot shorter than I thought you would be. I am very triggered by it. I know it's a little vain, but it's true. I'm not going to deny it. And every single time, I've been short my whole life, okay? I know I'm short. I'm 5 feet tall, okay? I get it. I don't need anybody to highlight that for me, because what it says to me is, I see your weakness and I'm exposing it. So how do I turn that into something that's positive? Well, my answer is, God created me this way, so talk to him about it. And it makes people laugh, and it kind of embarrasses them a little bit. And if they're good natured, they can kind of laugh with me about it. But it takes the pressure off of me and the stress that it used to cause me, and it turns it into something that's hopefully lighthearted. And also shares my faith because, hey, that can be a good topic of discussion too. So know what your triggers are, know what stresses you out, know that if something comes up, you're prepared to answer it in a way that turns it around. We all know what our stress triggers are. If you don't know, then you need to do an internal inventory and just sit down and write it down. It took me a long time to actually figure that one out, but now I've got it handled. A stress trigger could be dietary. It could be you go out to eat with other people and it triggers you because there are certain foods that you want to have that you can't have. Well, study the menu. If you know you're going out to eat at a certain place because you want to be with your friends and family, study the menu and know what you can order. Or if you're going to a party and you are on a particular diet, bring something with you so it's no longer a stress. If the news triggers you, turn it off. Take it off your phone. If certain people on social media trigger you, block them. So we have to be proactive in knowing what our stress triggers are so that we can shield ourselves. It's literally like an invisible shield that you have created pillars for to protect you. Your sword and shield need to go with you everywhere you go. And that will greatly impact your stress levels. Now, what else impacts your stress in a positive way is your physical health. And that's number 5. So if we can arm ourselves with the good diet, we can arm ourselves by knowing what our triggers are. We can protect ourselves with starting the day on the right foot and guarding our digital gate. Then after the food and the stress management, we can get active. Activity is not a vanity thing. I mean, it can be, but what I want to tell you, friend, is activity is vital for your well-being. It's vital for your brain health. So if you're thinking about it and just like, well, I want to fit into my jeans, or I want to, look svelte in this, that, or the other. I want you to think about how exercise impacts your well-being and how you need to protect it. Many, many years ago, I, again, kind of had this body image thing. And it definitely stemmed from the short thing. Okay. I'm being very vulnerable right now. And I used to use food and exercise in a way that was really unhealthy. It was about shrinking myself. It was about eating the least amount that I could. It was about exercising till I could pass out, literally. And it was about extremes. It wasn't about building a healthy body, it was about shrinking. I want you to think about all these habits that you're doing in growing strength. Are you exercising for strength? Are you lifting weights or using body weight resistance to grow muscle, which is the longevity organ, which is going to help to support your structure, your ability to fight disease? Are you eating and exercising in a way that gives you life rather than making you feel fearful? And that's the shift. That is the attitude shift that will get you across the finish line if you have any sort of body images or any sort of, distress around how you show up in the world. And I am not a doctor, so if you do have some type of addictive personality, whether it's food, whether it's fitness, whether it's some sort of substance abuse, I would highly recommend you seek a doctor's advice here. But what I am saying from my own personal experience is shifting my mindset about how I see food and exercise changed everything. From thinking about shrinking to thinking about getting strong. And I think it can help you too. So let me know if that little bite was a benefit for you, because I know it changed a lot for me. Number 6 is thinking about your lifestyle, okay? If you are smoking, if you are vaping, if you are, doing things that the world would, accept and be fine with, I mean, smoking weed, whatever it is, then I want you to really do an examination here of your lifestyle and how this impacts you. Does it slow you down? Does it make you foggy? Does it impact your ability to make good decisions? Does it distract you from your purpose? And if the answer is yes, then that requires a little bit more of a deep dive. For some people, it could even be something like coffee, okay? Coffee in excess can also distract you. It can make you feel very hyper. It can give you heart palpitations. Too much caffeine is not good for you. And so when I talk about lifestyle, I mean the full spectrum of lifestyle. What are the habits that are holding you hostage? And if those habits show up every single day in a way that takes you off your course or distracts you or doesn't make you feel good, you need to take a deeper look at those. And they could be any myriad of things. I don't need to go into all the lifestyle choices here that we make, but you probably know what they are. And again, take a little inventory of yourself and think about that. There's a lot of clutter and distraction and not so good things out there. And even though the world accepts it as being okay, or it's available, it's free, it doesn't mean it's good. So think about that. And I don't need to go into all the lifestyle stuff. I think you can read between the lines and figure out what I'm talking about. But think about those. It can even be an addiction to social media. So, like I said, if it is something that is taking you off your path of purpose, then let's evaluate. Number 7 is alcohol. Okay. Yes, it is a lifestyle decision, but I also want you to think of this as its own isolated choice. Alcohol kills people left and right. It shuts down the brain. It is so bad for your brain. So if you are about making good decisions, maybe the number one thing that I would say is thinking about giving up alcohol, or at least significantly diminishing your use of it and making it much more occasional. I made this choice several years ago when I was going through Perry, and it made all the difference in the world. I could sleep better. I could make better decisions. I had less mood swings. I mean, the myriad. And I wasn't even a big drinker, but even just 1 or 2 glasses of wine would set me off. Is that doing that to you? And I'm here to tell you there are so many good non-alcoholic choices out there. It's just, you won't even feel like you're missing anything. And the last thing is sleep. We talked about sleep. We talked about it as being a stress trigger. And if you are not sleeping properly, your body doesn't have time to modulate cortisol, ghrelin, and all of the other hormones that will not only trigger stress, but also that overeating. Ghrelin is directly related to your body's ability to say, I have had enough food to eat and I don't need to eat anymore. Why is it that, when you have gone out all night and you get to bed, really late, that you're just ravenous the next day and all you want to eat is carbs? Well, that has a lot to do with it. So you've got to protect your sleep like it is part of your longevity protocol, your prescription for a good, solid, healthy life. And if that means you need to wear an eye mask, you need to put in earplugs, you need to set the room at 2 degrees cooler than you normally do, you need to maybe take some melatonin or put on some background music, whatever it is to help you get solid sleep, do that thing. And I've talked about sleep many times on the podcast. You can go back and listen to some of the older episodes. So which of these 8 moves are you going to commit to in the next 7 days? I want to invite you to share your progress with me on social media or by email. If you don't want to, if blocking social media is one of your choices, just send me an email, Maria@chefmaria.com, and let me know what you're committing to today. And remember, you can't control all 35,000 decisions, but you can control the first one. And that is enough to change everything. So if this was helpful for you, I want you to go to the show notes and download my checklist. This is your Mindset Monday checklist. And it's going to help you every single week. I know it does for me, just having this checklist in front of me. What are you going to commit to? Start with 1 and then go through all 8 as quickly as you can. And once you do that and you have a rhythm, it will change everything. Friends, longevity isn't just about living longer. It's about living well. And if you can make that one decision today, I'm going to be cheering you on. Thank you for listening, and I hope to hear from you soon.
This podcast is for informational purposes only and should not be considered legal health advice. We are not responsible for any losses, damages, or liabilities that may arise from the use of this podcast. This podcast is not intended to replace professional medical advice, and the views expressed in this podcast may not be those of the host or the management. Hey, it's Chef Maria, and thank you so much for tuning into The Real Dish. It means a lot to me that you're here. I hope today's episode has inspired you to take some proactive steps towards a healthier and happier you. Because just remember, bite-sized changes can lead to big transformations. But before you go, would you do me a big favor? If you found value in this episode, would you share it with 2 of your closest friends and hit the subscribe button so you never miss an episode? And if you really want to make this girl's day, would you leave a 5-star review? I do hear an angel gets its wings every time you do that. But really, this helps us spread the message of real life wellness to even more listeners. And everybody could use a healthy portion of that, right? Now, until next time, remember, you are the chef of your own kitchen. So feed your life well, make good decisions, prioritize your well-being, and remember, you need to take care of you because we only get one of you and you are a gift to everyone around you. So until next week, this is Chef Maria signing off. And just remember, we're here to cook up a good time every single week. We'll see you soon.